looking at Pfizer's quarterly earnings, which were just released. Comirnaty had a pretty good quarter. I guess there was some catch up from last quarter, and there's a bivalent update to the vaccine, so pretty impressive result there. Doesn't look like it'll last into 2023 as they're guiding a pretty ugly 2023, but the Q4 was amazing. So we got Pfizer, market's just opening now, so maybe we'll keep one eye on that if we can. Paxlovid had a rough quarter. Not going to be a smooth landing there. You can see that they, from the spreadsheet, maybe you can't see the spreadsheet. Hold on. Paxlovid got off to a good start. First real quarter was $1.5 billion, then $8 billion, then $7.5 billion, and now we're down to $1.8 billion. So really ugly landing for Paxlovid. Although one must ask, how large did you expect this drug to be? But I thought they would have a softer landing than that. I guess with COVID disappearing, do you really need a COVID antiviral? Probably not. So, Paxlovid, we'll get to their guidance in a second. In fact, maybe let's go to the guidance now, because it was pretty, I think it's probably roughly in line with what people thought. It's probably a tad disappointing. I think some people, Pfizer bulls, probably thought we'd see more of a steady drop-off in Comirnaty, which is their brand for the COVID vaccine. But it looks like Pfizer basically is saying that don't expect much from Comirnaty in 2013. And, of course, bulls would say, well, they're being conservative. But I think the reality is they're probably not being too conservative. They're probably, let's see, my estimates are a little effed up because of the last quarter, but that's roughly what I was expecting. No kidding. That's a funny guess because I was just guessing. I bet something in this territory. Maybe less. I think I had a smaller number actually. Let's see. Yeah, I was probably more bearish than most. But Pfizer is saying they'll sell $13.5 billion of the COVID vaccine next year, which is down 64%. And they have some interesting assumptions there. Just some funny. Good morning, everyone. Some funny assumptions we'll get to in a second that I thought were really, I've never seen stuff like that before, but it sounds like Pfizer's assuming COVID will go away, which is good news for all of us. It's not good news for Pfizer, right? But it's good news for all of us. the less Pfizer makes in money, the less sick we all are, which is good. So they're saying Paxlovid will sell 8 billion, which is really weird because last quarter was pretty bad. In fact, it seems like it'd be really hard for them to sell 8 billion given they're not even run rating at 8 billion, and it seems to be dropping precipitously. So that seems like I'm not going to listen to that. That seems way too optimistic. But I'll give them a little benefit of the doubt and adjust my numbers to say 6 billion. I would think less than that, but I want to give some deference to their guidance. But I know that there's some downside risk to that. So they're saying that there'll be sales through traditional commercial markets. So that means that you will have to pay, or your insurance will have to pay for Paxlovid or Comirnaty. And I think what their goal is to actually charge insurance quite a lot more than they would charge the government. So they might get a lot less units and still be able to hit these numbers of 8 billion and 13, I want to say 13.5 billion. So that's the idea there. So I'm going to stay a little bit below those two numbers, but I think that's kind of where Pfizer is. Take a look at these assumptions. These are really humorous. These are normal things you would see, but now there's a 2023 guidance for Comirnaty, which is the estimated proportion of the US population that receives a vaccine. So really interesting way to put it, 24%, 31% last year. Decrease due to fewer primary vaccinations and lower compliance. Estimated number of doses per vaccinated person per year on average, 1.3. Estimated Comirnaty market share, 64%. US demand, 65 versus 92 last year, etc. So it'll be really interesting to see what'll happen in 2023. My guess is they'll probably miss these numbers, but getting management's tenor on the conference call will be pretty important. The site I'm using is my own site called Godel. It's in beta testing right now. We're looking at Pfizer's earnings report, which was just released. It's earnings season for any of you who are interested in finance. All right, Eliquis. Look, a little light maybe, a little light. Prevnar. Prevnar was Pfizer's biggest product for a while. Then COVID hit. Primary care, is that where we're putting Prevnar now? Ooh, big quarter for Prevnar. Probably some catch up now that COVID's kind of receding, but all right, Paxlovid. All right, Ibrance, this is their breast cancer drug. It's been a bit weak for a while. I'm surprised I had it growing, because I think it's been shrinking a tiny bit. Vyndaqel, that's their big rare disease drug. It's now their biggest specialty care drug. So Vyndaqel, a great quarter, wow. Really big quarter there. Trailing 12 months, or well, now it's just 2022 revenue for Vyndaqel, $2.4 billion, wow. Great product. Xeljanz has been a disaster as people get scared of JAK inhibitors now, or at least Xeljanz. Enbrel continues its decline to zero. Pfizer has ex-US Enbrel rights, while Amgen has the US rights. Xtandi, which is not a good deal for Pfizer in my opinion. Xtandi just keeps nudging ahead a little by little. So that's, I think, a record quarter for Xtandi. Inlyta, ooh, big softness there. They may no longer be disclosing some of these, so we'll see. We're getting to products that are less and less important for Pfizer. The big ones are all, we've just looked through all the big ones. They have a bunch of biosimilars, which is kind of funny. And here's one, Inflectra, that seems to be declining pretty quickly. Ruxience, this is the Rituxan biosimilar. Ruxience. All the biosimilars seem to be quite weak. This was supposed to be a big market for pharma to sort of catch up with biotech, and it just hasn't seemed to be what anybody wanted. Sutent, which was one of the first kinase inhibitors, now generic. Oh, there's Oxbrita. Oxbrita is acquired in the Global Blood Therapeutics acquisition, GBT. I don't have a lab coat, that's funny. I wish I had a formula that allowed me to not sleep, that would be great. Let's see, do they call it immunoglobulins or do they just have, I'm not sure. They're Nurtec now, also as a disclosed product, so we got that. That is the drug they got from Biohaven. Nurtec, ODT, Vidura. My neck is still killing me. So I don't know what they're doing with, oh, there it is, immunoglobulins. All right, Premarin, very old drug from the old company American Home Products, which very few people here will remember, unless you're a student of business or pharmaceuticals. American Home Products was a company from a long, long time ago, changed its name to Wyeth, and then was acquired by Pfizer. Premarin is estrogen, made from horse estrogen actually. Still being used, surprisingly, even though it causes breast cancer if you use it too much. Medrol 93. Nimenrix. I think that's a meningitis vaccine. I'm not sure. Lorbrena. That's a new kinase inhibitor for oncology. Lots of little products. Pfizer's like quite diverse with these bulky little products. I'm sure Pfizer would rather be a little more streamlined. And this is after their spin-off of Viatris or Upjohn, which created their merger with Mylan to create Viatris. So Pfizer earnings, reaction to the earnings, not really significant, kind of basically a non-event, but still very important for us analysts to look at very closely. Bavencio starting to get relevant in the PD-1 game. Maybe not too relevant, but starting to contribute a little bit. VFend 55. This is an old drug. Aromacin, another old drug. Surprised they still disclose Tobias. I bet that won't be back next year. Trazimera is their Herceptin biosimilar. You can see the biosimilars, just not doing that great. No other way to say it. Raftovi and Mektovi also suspect, and you gotta wonder if Pfizer regrets the Array acquisition. It's gonna turn out, I think, that Pfizer's COVID boom will not really have changed the company very much. Which I think a lot of people will be surprised by that take, because it was an enormous amount of revenue, right? Let's see, for 2023 to the beginning of COVID, you're looking at $86 billion in revenue. But remember, that's not a high gross margin product, so they do have to split with BioNTech. So if you think about that plus taxes, maybe you're looking at 30 or 40 billion, but Pfizer is wasted, like the Array deal, right? And the Medivation deal. Pfizer kind of overpaid for a number of assets. So one would almost say that, COVID's going to basically be a non-event for Pfizer, which is kind of crazy to think about. If you had the biggest product in pharma history, and the problem is they just kind of squandered these cash flows, in my opinion, with kind of somewhat bad deals. Now, sometimes you have some pretty good deals too, but in general, they've done sort of bad deals. I'm not sure they got a good deal out of Biohaven either, for example. Maybe there'll be variants of COVID. Maybe there won't be. I mean, they're telling us that 2023 is going to be a pretty bad year. So I'm hoping COVID just goes away. But, it's certainly possible that, COVID will be here forever and there'll always be, a need for COVID products. It's possible, for sure. Okay, so quarter was 23.9 billion. Gonna make a few adjustments here for the other section. Let's take a look. Other specialty care. I think that's other hospital. Other primary. Other infectious. Center one. Oh, I gotta add Oxybrita. I saw a center one here somewhere. There it is. Oncology, and now Oxybrita, which is 73 million. All right, so 24,290. I think I've got some mess up in here somewhere, small amount. Oh, I think I see it now. Okay. And Desponsa. Okay. 24,287 and 24,290. So pretty much the same number. They sometimes have a rounding thing, which is kind of annoying. Okay, cool. Now let's look at margins. So non-GAAP cost of goods sold were roughly the same. Really big COGS difference for me because I didn't think Comirnaty would have the catch-up quarter that they had, so margin's a lot lower than Pfizer would have wanted, all the way down to 60%, which is kind of like when they had tons of COVID revenue. That's the kind of margins they had. Spot on the SI&A. We'll take a look at R&D in a minute. And then we'll take a look at taxes. Huh. It'd be interesting to see this income statement. Oh, this is the wrong quarter. Okay, good. Thought some of these numbers looked off. All right, 9475, 4414 is a little higher there. 656. Okay, good. I was very confused for a second how they could hit that net income number. Okay, here's R&D. 3615. And almost no taxes for Pfizer. Wow. Just amazing. Lucky dogs, huh? We all gotta pay taxes, but they're paying like no taxes. Oof. All right, so yeah, roughly a 12% tax rate. Can you imagine? Subscription plan for boosters. Yeah, I guess I'm having a hard time seeing how they can hit their guidance number. But, you know, I am more bearish on the COVID vaccine than financially bearish, at least, than I guess they are. So, but even with their numbers, it seems hard to hit what they're talking about. It could be new products. It could be Prevnar, RSV, etrasimod, meningococcal. It has to be these new products that'll meet the gap here, but I'm still short several billion. About 3 or 4 billion at least, so those new products might do 3 or 4 billion. We'll see. Yep, not a big reaction. Merck's Prevnar competitor. Let's just see how they launch. Pfizer's got a little bit of mind share. Prevnar. I think margins for Pfizer have to go up, kind of back to their old 80%. But I guess it depends on how fast COVID disappears. Okay, so this is roughly their guidance. $325 to $345. I've got $340. So yeah. I don't know. I think if you zero out the COVID products, that's kind of a decent way to look at it, to be honest. Then you'd have to bump the margins and adjust the costs, obviously. But now you're looking at, not much earnings. Let's see, let's bump these. You also have to look at the new products, because the new products are coming. And you could put kind of a little multiple on this number, just $2. Looks like Pfizer's kind of a little overvalued regardless. Maybe fairly valued if you're lucky. Should we listen to the call?